Okay, everybody, welcome to Nova Scribes. My name is Brian. I'm very happy to introduce you all to Dan and Lynne of the Sparklit group. Lynne has been innovating, collaborating, and learning with healthcare leaders for over 24 years to improve the health of individuals and communities. She is a certified leadership coach. She holds a master's in human resources development. She's also a two-time Ironman triathlete. She now finds joy in simply crossing the finish line. Dan has served in the Air Force for over 20 years as a technology leader and a rapid innovation catalyst. His four books blend lighthearted pop culture whimsy with deep historical research and engineering pragmatism. He's always aiming to help readers laugh, think, and act. Dan has accumulated several circus-related hobbies, including fire eating and juggling, which I'm hoping you're going to be doing later for us. Um, but in the meantime, we invited them here to give us a little bit of an overview of what they're doing, including the interactive elephant. So with that, Dan and Lynne, can I turn it over to you two?
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thanks so much,
go
Brian. And
ahead,
thanks
Dan.
for everybody for being here. We're excited to spend some time together tonight. We'll introduce ourselves in a moment, but we wanted to kind of kick it off with an ice melter question that Starling is going to sound familiar to you because we learned it from you, but we love it and we thought we wanted to use it here as well. So by way of introduction, we want to have you all introduce yourselves first, and then we'll get into our stuff. And the opening question goes like this. Imagine there is a museum that's all about you. This museum is about your life, your history, your interests, whatever aspects of you might be shown in a museum. I want you to think of what is one object that a visitor to this museum might find in the gift shop on the way out. So, not what's on the wall, but what is one object that a visitor to this museum might find in the gift shop on the way out? Um, so we could do this a couple different ways. We could have folks type stuff into the chat. We could go around the circle. I don't know, Lynn, what do you recommend here?
If you feel so inspired, come off mute and share. And if you feel more comfortable putting it in the chat, then do that.
I love it.
Casey, I see you're already off mute. We'd love to hear from you.
First thing came to mind is a little image of Don Quixote tilting at a windmill, just not giving up when he sees something that's wrong.
Love it. I
Nice.
buy that. And I see a short poem. Oh, I love a short poem. A Moleskine notebook, Brian, hopefully one that has some of your drawings in it. A squishy spike puffer ball. I'm sorry, LJ, you're going to have to come off mute and tell us what that is. It sounds like an oxymoron.
It's like one of those balls that you can get. You see them in sometimes the quarters you used to put in, and they're spiky, but you can also squeeze them and they like expand. They're both stress inducing and reducing at the same time.
All right, well, while
Nice.
you're off mute, tell us why that's what we would find in your museum gift shop.
Um, because it doesn't really make sense, right? It's an oxymoron. That's just my existence in a nutshell.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Starling, who never goes anywhere without some post-it notes. And Amy, Christmas ornaments. Oh, how fun. I love the thought of picking up a Christmas ornament. Dan, what would be in your gift shop?
So the thing in my gift shop would probably go along with Brian's notebook, but a green pen. I started writing in green ink about 10 years ago, and I haven't stopped. Green is my color for writing because green means go, green means good, green means growth. And it's a visual reminder to think differently when I'm writing because it's not blue, it's not black. So I would love to sell green pens in my gift shop. How about you, Lynn?
I would have bicycle helmets for everyone. I am a cyclist, but I also was in a bad crash back in 2011. And I am here today because I was wearing a helmet. So I am absolutely an evangelist for bike helmets, and any gift shop of mine would have a bike helmet in it for everyone.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Christina, I see small handmade items knitted or beaded. My daughter loves quarter machines and small items, so she wants to go to all of your. Ooh, that's awesome.
And we can't miss the bad
They're my
ceramics.
earplugs. They're my
Oh,
earplugs in there.
Look at
because I have
those.
these tiny, tiny titanium earplugs and I need somewhere to keep them.
Wow.
Right. Yes, we have built items that are so easy to lose. We need bags and packages to keep track of them, and delightful for them to be handmade and beaded and pretty.
Mm.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm intrigued by bad ceramics. Karen, say more about bad ceramics.
So I have this thing, I occasionally do different crafts, and occasionally it's ceramics. And the reason I love the idea of bad ceramics is that it just expresses the willingness to try something and make a mistake and not have it come out looking like perfect and being proud of it almost.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
I love that too. In fact, I think I have some bad ceramics right here that a child of mine who's now not a child anymore made, and I love it for just that reason.
That's awesome.
All right, Dan, well, should we jump in?
I think so. Yeah, I think the next question is assigned to you, but I could certainly ask it. What we're asking people to drop into the chat here. We'd love to hear why you're here. What brought you here tonight to this particular session with the Nova Scribes? Is there something you want to learn? Is there something you want to walk away with? Or is it just curiosity? Or Brian's just fans of the Dan and Lynne show? So go ahead and throw that into the chat as well. We'd love to hear, what brings you here tonight.
Or come up mute and tell us live.
Yeah.
Well, I will say it's not a rerun, Brian. So this is a brand new episode of the Dan and Lynne show tonight.
Yeah. Oh, and Christina, you heard about me through Simon Wardley. Such a generous guy. Like we've only interacted through the screen once or twice, but yeah, he's a remarkable dude. So I appreciate his fandom.
And yes, we will be talking about the concept of eating an elephant. And Amy, it is totally related to a new way of tackling big projects, issues, and decisions. LJ, we love that you had free time, and this is how you chose to spend it. There are so many other ways, so thank you. Christina, you are an elephant rider. We have to hear a little more about that.
So there is a card deck, which actually we're going to be doing something for Nova Scribes in a couple of weeks. It's called the Emotional Culture Deck. And so the organisation is called Riders and Elephants, and I'm an elephant rider. So we facilitate connect and things like that using the Emotional Culture Deck. And the name came from probably a book that Dan and Chip Heath wrote. There's a few books out there where they talk about riding your elephant and your feelings being the elephant. And so, yes, so that's how Riders and Elephants was born here in New Zealand. And I'm part of that community. But not actual elephants, although I have sat on one.
That's amazing.
Nice. And I love scroll past it. The comment about knowledge is expendable currency depending on the market. Ooh,
Deepening.
that's poetic. Oh,
Or deepening.
could be deepening on the market. I read that as depending, but
Sorry,
yeah,
I meant dependent. Sorry, dear.
Okay.
I like deepening though.
I do
Currency
too.
depends on the market. Yes. That's terrific. So we are excited to spend some time with you all here. It's good to know kind of what brought you here and what you're looking to get. So let's introduce ourselves a little bit. Again, my name is Dan Ward. Brian, thank you so much for the great intro. Lynne and I launched the Sparklit group 6 months ago on Thursday. So we are coming up on our 6-month business launch anniversary. I'm in the Boston area, and our small little 2-person consultancy is all about helping people work together more effectively to find creative solutions to hard problems, to meaningful problems. And we've been having a good time doing it. And we're going to share with you one of the things that we've developed in our time together. Lynn, over to you. What else do you want to add by way of an intro for yourself?
Well, just to add that Dan and I met working at the MITRE Corporation, which is also where we had the chance to work with Starling and with Casey. And we met through a group called the Innovation Toolkit Team. And in 2024, Dan and I led 11 workshops on innovation together off the side of our desk. That was not our full-time job. And we had so much fun doing it that in 2025, we thought, what would happen if we left MITRE? And we did stuff like that all the time. And so that's what we do, and that's why we're here. And we're so excited to share this interactive elephant that we developed post MITRE in the last couple of months.
Yeah, and although the framing is how do you eat an elephant, I do want to put in a plug that elephants are beautiful, endangered creatures. No one should actually eat them. So it is a metaphor like Christina, your elephant riding. We also are not encouraging people to like actually eat an elephant. So let's kind of maybe start with that question. Have you heard the phrase, how do you eat an elephant? And this is something that you guys have come across. What's the usual answer to that question? How do you eat an elephant?
You gotta
One
cut
bite at
it.
a time.
Yes, Karen, one bite at a time. That is the typical answer to this question. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So a little bit of backstory here. So early this summer, I was at the Smart Cities Conference in New York City. It was the last session of the last day. I'm completely wiped out. I'm barely paying attention. I'm hanging in there for the final panel and thinking about leaving early because I'm just exhausted and my brain is in that weird, tired, overstimulated, loopy kind of mode. I'm like too tired to get up and walk out. So I'm just sort of sitting there and I'm mostly paying attention and I'm thinking about dinner. And in the panel, two different panelists in kind of rapid succession mentioned that old advice. How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And the first time somebody says it, like it barely registered. The second time somebody said it, something deep inside of me woke up and said, no, no, that is not true. That is not how anybody eats elephants. That is not how I have ever eaten an elephant. In fact, I don't think anybody in the history of elephant eating has ever eaten an elephant one bite at a time because a different answer popped into my head. And so this no popped into my head. And I thought, no, the way we actually eat elephants is together. We don't eat it one bite at a time. It's lots of bites all at once, but we do it together. For every big challenge I've ever gone after, every big challenge I've ever sort of achieved, it's always been somebody cheering me on, somebody showing me the way, somebody helping me out, somebody coaching, guiding, doing it with me. And so, I came back and shared the experience with Lynne. We kind of talked through it. We pulled this thread, and together we wrote what we call the Sparklit Guide to Eating Elephants, which is based around 4 essential questions. I think we'll throw the link to that guide in the chat here in a minute as well. And a lot of our practice with the Sparklit group is around asking bolder questions to build better futures. So we love leaning into questions. And that's what this tool ended up being. So we wrote the guide and then we made a web app version of it. And that's what we're actually going to work with today. So I'm going to share the link here in just a second.
I dropped it in.
Oh, you got it.
It's
Okay,
there.
very good. Thank you. I see that. And is that the link to the? Okay, so that's to the app. Yeah. So should I share my screen for that as well? Okay. Brian's got his screen.
It's a little small.
Yeah, you might go ahead and share your screen, Dan.
Yeah. Let me share my. Okay. Yes. All right. Is that coming through?
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So, my handy dandy little drawing of an elephant at the very top. This is kind of our approach to how do you eat an elephant. So if you have a big project, an intimidating goal, you've kind of come to the right place. So we're going to jump to the very bottom here where it says, let's get started. There's 4 questions we're going to walk through real quick. And then in a moment, we're going to have you all fill these out yourselves. So question number one is just, what is your elephant's name? And it should be a big name. It should be a scary name. It should be a name that just feels too big to eat. So you're going to type that name in here. And then when you move
Here,
on to the
let's
next,
do it, Dan. Let's do it. Let's put it in. All
all
right.
right.
So our elephant's name is Start a Business.
Yes. So our elephant's name is Start a Business Together. Getting ahead of myself a little bit. So then question number two is, why do you want to tackle this particular elephant? And if your answer is, I don't know, that's a great answer. We love the answer, I don't know. It's very honest. I won't tell Simon Sinek that you don't have your why. That's okay. But if you do have a why, here's a good place to put that. So, we had fun doing this as a side gig. We'd like to try it full time, right? Or there's other reasons, things were changing in the world, things were changing at the company. There's a whole lot of reasons that went into that. And you can get quite specific in your, why you're tackling this. Question number three is, what would it mean to eat this elephant? You can be general. It would mean everything. You can be specific. Hey, it would give me the professional credentials to move into the next step of my career. Cool. But Lynn, what would you put in what would accomplishing this elephant that we're talking about mean to you for this one?
That it would allow me to do the kind of work all the time that I love to do, which is engaging with people and helping people.
Cool. All right. Now here's the big question. Here's the real question. This is the core of this app. Who can help you eat this elephant? And this is where we invite people to write down specific names. You don't have to know them. You don't have to have a personal relationship with them. It could just be somebody, boy, that person could meet me or could help me. I need to go meet them. So I will write down Lynn's name as a co-founder, and we can add another person, and I'll write down my name as a co-founder as if this was Lynn filling it out. And then we had coaches. We had a lawyer, which we had to find. We knew we needed one, but we found one. We might need a brand person. And so we talk about how they would help for each of these different things. And then when you're finally done, you get to the review my elephant, and it puts together this nice little single page summary. You can save it as a PDF, and it captures your sort of plan for how you can get started on eating this elephant. Lynn, what else to add in terms of the walkthrough here?
Just pause and see if people have any reactions or questions before we have them fill it out.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
So, the who can help you tackle this elephant? I think that's often something that it wouldn't be an elephant if we had the answer to that. So, can you talk a bit more about how to find the who when you get to that step and you're like, well, I don't know the who. If I knew that, I would have already done it or whatever. So
that's a great question. There are maybe adjacent who's that you could put in there that might be able to help you. So for example, we did not know who to use as a lawyer. So we asked some what I would call adjacent who's, our friends Andrea Howe and Kate Gregory from the Trusted Advisor Group, if they had lawyers they could recommend. So we talked to Kate and Andrea pretty early on as we were thinking about this business, not so much to talk about starting a business, but to ask them, although we did end up talking about that, but to ask them for referrals. So I guess I would think about it as maybe not, if you don't know who the who's are, who might help you identify the who's? Not to sound too Dr. Susie.
You're looking for all the who's in Whoville, right? And Karen, I think you put your finger on like kind of one of the key concepts in this guide to eating elephants is when you've assembled your team, that elephant gets so much easier to eat. It still might be a big elephant, like building a company, getting a degree, writing a book. Like these are all still big, difficult challenges, but they become possible. when we assemble that team, when we identify who's going to help us eat it, when we understand what role they might play, the lawyer, the brand person, the person who's a few months ahead of us or a few years ahead of us, who can kind of be our guide and our role model. All of a sudden, that elephant becomes edible, eatable. I think it becomes capable. We've become capable of eating the elephant as we fill out that who. So, but I think you're absolutely right, because once you get to that part, the actual elephant gets a lot easier. I will say it doesn't necessarily get easy. Here we are 6 months into this business, creating this new company. It's still hard. So much easier when we have brought the right people in. So great question, Karen. Thank you. What else? Other questions?
Well, let's give you a chance to fill it out, because sometimes as you're filling it out, more questions emerge. So this is the interactive part where you click on the link and you start filling it out. Brian, we do have some thinking music that we thought was apropos to the theme. So we're going to give you just about 4 minutes to take a minute, fill it out, and then keep it somewhere, on your laptop, so that you can share it in just a couple of minutes.
Okay, you ready for the music?
We're ready. I think that's the end of the song. So I don't know if it's been quite 4 minutes, but we'll say it is. Dan's clock probably still says 5:16, but I think it's been about 3.5 minutes. So before we give the instructions and break into small groups to really dig in, no pun intended, to these elephants, any other questions that came up about the tool itself as you've filled it out? Okay, well, we will have a chance to debrief, but what we want to do now is break folks into small groups. And Brian, I think you can help us with this, right?
Yep.
So we'll do groups of 3. I'm going to drop in the chat the instructions. In your groups, share your answers on the elephant app. What's your elephant's name? Why do you want to tackle this particular elephant? And what does it mean to you to tackle it? And finally, who can help and why? Or excuse me, and how? And group members, ask questions, give feedback, have folks check your assumptions and any biases that might be embedded in here. Maybe there's other people your group can suggest that you add to your elephant. So we will take, 15 minutes? 15 minutes. So each person should have around 5 minutes, and it looks like Amy can't be in a group. So we will not put Amy in a group. But otherwise, I think we're good to go.
Okay, here we go, 15 minutes. If you have any problems, just click the button that says Ask the Host for Help, and we'll see you back in 15.
All right, welcome back, folks. We'd love to hear just kind of your reactions. How did that go? Filling it out, talking about it with people. What kind of elephants did you discuss? Yeah, we just want to take a few minutes to debrief with the big group.
Can I go?
Please.
Yes, we would love it. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. My elephant, I mean, I was telling the group I had like 3 different elephants, but I had to choose the bigger elephant. I mean, so I guess so for me, my bigger elephant right now is to my pathway to stay back and work and stay in the US. I mean, I came here some years back to get a graduate degree from the University of Maryland. I completed my program. Been trying to get a job. It's not been so easy to get a full-time role, and then coupled with all these like say immigration things going on. So a lot of companies nowadays are not so keen on people who require some sort of visa support, if I put it that way. So, but not to say that it's all dark and gloom, but it just makes it more daunting if I put it that way. So regardless, just trying to just see how do I crack this ceiling? How do I, get away and get into my, get a job? And of course, a lot of that dreams riding on it, get a job, start a family, have children and all those things. So like that's one
Mm.
elephant. There's some other elephants, but I think at this point in time, this is my main elephant.
Right. I'm sorry that is so hard in this world, in this country right now. And that is a terrific elephant. Big, hard, scary, meaningful. Yes. So thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I love that you picked the biggest one.
Thank you.
And I popped into the group, and can you just share a little bit about what the experience was like to share it with other people, to share your elephant?
Well, for me, when I shared it, I got some feedback. Well, like one of my group members advised me to leverage LinkedIn more to try to reach out to like HR people in different companies, try to assess like the university alumni network, and spoke about her own experience when she was out of country and the how it was some kind of hurdle for her, but just trying to look back through her own scenario and say maybe I could also try some of these that it might help.
Mm, awesome. Thank you. Who else wants to share a few thoughts and reactions to using this tool?
I really like hearing the motivations that people had with their different elements and the way their voices were lighting up as they were talking about the challenge they were facing, myself included.
Right. Oh, thank you, Starling. I love that. Yeah, I mean, because when we think about metaphorically eating an elephant, I mean, these are big, scary things. But when we get into the why, right, then hopefully we smile about that too.
Karen, I'm putting you on the spot, but I would love to hear a little bit about your experience with the Who's. I know that was a question.
With the
Yeah.
who's for when I made my elephant.
No, I'm asking Karen now.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, no problem.
You can jump in too, Starly, if you
Yeah,
want.
absolutely.
So yeah, so I would say it was still very much a stumbling place in our group. And one of the things that came out of it for me is um, thinking about I'm trying to think how to say this. Instead of thinking about who's from like who should I choose and then trying to figure out specific people, coming at it from a different thing of imagining that I already had my team in place. What would this team look like? What would I imagine this team? Who would be on it? What support would be they providing? So imagining it already done and then maybe figuring out, okay, how do I work back from that?
Mm.
As a way to take a different direction towards figuring out the who. Um, the other thing that came to mind, Sumesh mentioned there's the theory of 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. That's the original, if you all know it. But I'm thinking more about how I've reached out to people in my network and I say, "Do you know anybody who blah?" And they'll be like, "No," and it just seems to shut the door out
Mm.
down. It doesn't go any further. But what's coming to mind is instead of asking, "Do you know anybody who knows blah?" asking them, would you ask your network if they know anybody who knows blah? So, um, I don't know why it didn't occur to me before, but it's like having them ask the question of their network or even of the network beyond them as a way to open the door up on that.
Oh, I love that. I love that question. Thank you, Karen. And actually, Karen, you got me thinking of another question, which is, this is a new app. We just designed it. We've got a group of facilitators and designers here. What would you tweak? What would you add? How would you make it better? Please, Casey.
Go for
I think it's great. I'm not sure if I'd change anything. Matter of fact, I'm leading an offsite next Thursday with some executives, and this is how we're going to start the day.
Cool. Amazing.
Same questions, right? I think what you've done here is you refine the simplicity, get down to simplicity. That's what I'm saying is that how do you start with from the my from the me to the us is kind of the path you're taking someone through, and you do it, and it's a real quick way to go through that. Yeah, so appreciate that. Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, Casey. And we'd love to hear how it goes when you use it.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. I'll reach out afterwards. Thank you.
Yeah. So I put the link to the PDF version of it as well. You can get to it from the app, but you didn't see the link there. So there's the online version, there's the PDF version, and yeah, this is certainly available for you folks to use for whatever. I am curious. Did anybody come into this with kind of an elephant in mind, like a big project that you're working on or that you care about trying to tackle? And like, did this help you sort of see it in a different light or find a different lens of approaching that elephant?
I can speak on this a little bit.
Oh, thank you.
I did not come in here with a specific elephant in mind and then promptly made up a slightly ridiculous elephant because I just went with it. But what I think was helpful for me is thinking about the people who can help me. I'm rather independent. I don't always think about
Mhm.
creating the team. But as you said, not one person needs to eat a whole elephant. So it's a ridiculous thought that I think I somehow feel like I should be doing everything rather than building more of a team around the goal that, brings fulfillment to not just me, but to the other people around me. So I think that's something I will definitely take away and a skill I need to certainly work on.
Awesome, LJ. Thank you so much. So in team three that I jumped into, just as I came in, they're starting to talk about AI a little bit. I'm curious, did anybody include an AI in that list of who can help you eat the elephant? ChatGPT or Claude or anybody? 'Cause that hadn't occurred to me, but I kind of dig that idea of like Claude could help me eat this elephant. And what role does an AI play
Mhm.
in this kind of work?
Yeah, that's interesting. And what does it mean? Either that we didn't think about AI or if we all did.
Yeah.
I think Dan, maybe you were talking about me because I was mentioning it and then I was trying to close the little box that says, the group session's about to end, and I kicked myself out by clicking the wrong button. So I didn't get to elaborate on that. But I actually had an interesting experience just a few days ago. I was trying to I was putting a new version of my resume together, and
Mm,
Google just came out with this thing called Google Anti-Gravity, which is a thing like it's a way to use their new Gemini 3 thing with
mm,
chat agents, and it's sort of a technical thing, but basically I thought, oh, wouldn't it be fun to like test this agent thing out by having a bunch of these chat agents have different personas, like, and then have them
mm,
look at my resume. So it was like one of them, I had it set up like one of them was like a career coach, and one of them was like um like a recruiting person, and one of them was like a HR person at a company that I might be interested in. And I just had these different personas comb through my resume, and it was interesting the kind of feedback I got, because like I got like seven different, like totally different kind of feedback, and I like also had them rewrite my resume in a way that would appeal to them specifically,
Mhm.
and so I got like seven different versions of my resume, and it was interesting, like, just to see. I haven't had a chance to really like sort of make my final version yet, but it was just interesting getting that feedback, and like it was just so simple to do. I know maybe in
mm.
some ways it can't replace like showing it to real people, but it's just the speed of at which you could sort of get that kind of feedback was interesting to me. But anyway, that was just my experience.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Well, and before we wrap up, I do have just one last question, or well, it's not our final question. It's our final question about the Elephant app. Um, who might you share this app with? Uh, I'm now thinking about sharing it with my AI just to see what it comes up with.
Right.
Koji?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Upload that PDF to Gemini or someplace, and yeah. Hmm.
But yeah, I think it could be helpful with a really simple coaching tool. Who else?
This is probably kind of tangential, but I'm thinking like teenagers and college students. I love
Mm.
the idea that they'd have a tool like this early in life and whether that would help make a difference to them in how they can approach life and see the possibilities. Not that older people don't need it, but I think teaching people younger would be profound.
I love that, Karen. I was just thinking the same exact thing. I have a college son. I haven't shared this with him. I'm totally going to share it with him when he comes home for winter break.
Same. Yeah, a daughter, but yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like a nice way to reflect on something that we might think's really big, but as you go through the questions, you realize that you can break this down. You're not alone, especially with the last question when you're thinking about who can go on this journey with me or who's going to support me on the way. So, and that may be as simple as in my group, I was saying on those days when I'm really, really tired, just being able to say, make me omelette for dinner, which is my comfort food. But just thinking in advance of when you get really weary, who can help you. So I like the whole metaphor.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Christina. And I do want to put in a quick plug. Don't miss at the bottom some related questions to ponder, and I threw them in the chat there too. Like I particularly like the one like, do I have to eat the elephant or do I just want to get it eaten? And I don't care who does the eating, and somebody else can do the eating as long as it gets eaten. Um, there's maybe I like this part and not that part, and that's a filter as we think who might help as well.
So this is our parting question. If you remember, we started this with an old adage that Dan disrupted when he was in that meeting. How do you eat an elephant? It's not one bite at a time. It's not one bite at a time. So what other old adages might we need to disrupt? We're going to give you one, but we'd love to hear other ones from you. We thought of curiosity killed the cat. We are big fans of curiosity at the Sparklit group. We don't think it kills anything. So that is our next adage that we're going to think about disrupting. What else? What other adages might need disrupting?
A stitch in time saves nine. I'm trying to figure out how that
Oh, I love
falls
that
into
money
that.
doesn't grow on trees.
Yeah.
Patient dog eats the latest bone.
I meant fattest bone, not latest, fattest.
Okay, okay.
Facts.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Yes.
mean, nowadays, I
Oh,
mean, you need to move fast. You can't just be patient.
okay. That's a good one. Yeah. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? Maybe we need to flip that. And its cousin, no pain, no gain.
Mm. Ooh, there's some really good ones in here.
Well, thank
Yes.
you all. We've so enjoyed spending this time with you all, getting to share this app that we love, getting your feedback. If you use it, please let us know. I'm going to drop I think, Brian, you're putting our LinkedIn's in, right?
I am.
And
Thanks for the
I'm going
reminder.
to put our email addresses in.
Okay. And while we're doing that, let's give Dan and Lynn a big Nova Scribes thank you. Yay. Thank you very much. And with that, I will go ahead and stop the recording.